Hello, my beautiful people. I know we didn't hear from each other for quite some time. There were some reasons for it, so I'm going to talk about it today. And I wanted to share, after 1.5 years of being carnivore, with the ups and downs that come with it, what I actually learned. So let's just dive into it. So first things I learned is we have a little bit of a hype phase if we start something new. So everyone who decides to do something, if it's a life-changing situation, even if it's decluttering or food or sport, there is this hype phase that everyone is just so excited and we're gonna take all the content that we can get and learn so much. And that's the phase where some people, go at the top and then they fall down because it's getting too much. So, in my experience with a lot of people and a lot of influencers as well in my private life, there is this kind of situation where if they start easy, like really easy, and not hype it, all the topics that they're into it, and they just keep it continuously stable, they are much likely to implement it in their life if it's easy. But if you hype it, you can fall down. So that's what I saw now with a lot of carnivore people and a lot of influencers. Some of them I know personally. So I honestly, it was maybe at February, so at my 1 year anniversary, where I really started being just annoyed by the content that the influencers started creating, because it just started to be unrelatable, I would say. It was, I don't know how to explain it, but it was more about their lifestyle changing because of the millions, or not even millions, like hundreds and thousands and up, of YouTube followers that created their space and their money, and they started posting a lot of, oh, look at me, I'm first class flying and eating my steak on, look at me now being on this pool and that island and this thing. So it was just more about the expensive lifestyle, and I realized they're changing also their attitude. It's starting to being a little bit more arrogant. I couldn't really, I don't know, I started unfollowing a lot of people in the carnivore world because of that. So that did had an influence on me, because the content that I'm having or getting from my social media or my YouTube, it influences me. It does. If I have a lot of content, gym content, I started just getting up and I want to do something in the gym. Or if I'm, I don't know, watching a lot of music videos, I just want to stand up and dance. Yesterday I had a phase where I just watched karaoke videos. So I started singing and having fun by myself. So these videos do have an impact on me. So when all these influencers starting to be really unrelatable and these kind of things, it influenced me also in a wrong way. I was just done a little bit, not with the topic and the food and what is doing it to me, but with the topic getting from social media by myself. And that was one thing that I realized. And I observe, and also knowing a lot of these people in person, I know that a lot of this content is not real. I don't know how to explain that, because I'm not going to talk about who and what, but it's fake. It is fake at some point, not that they're eating that way, but what the food does to them. So let me explain a little bit further. When you eat carnivore and when you eat a lot of high fat, what it does to our bodies, and I saw it in real time. Believe me, I did all the diets and all the things that I, can get my hands on. So I really can tell you that. What it does is really something with your face. Your face started getting more healthy, and especially if you're used to having acne, that was insane. So let me tell you what happened. My son, 12 years old, had a completely clear skin. So he went to Italy with a friend of his and his mom, and he came back and he had the worst acne you can imagine. It was crazy. It was just everywhere. He looked like, he's contagious. It was really, really that bad. And I was like, oh my dear God, what did you eat? And he said, yeah, I eat sugar, and we eat every day tortellinis because it's cheap, and they're, the mom kind of influenced the kids and said, you have to eat cornflakes in the morning, and you have to eat the pasta. So, especially when you're a kid, you're shy to go and say no. And actually, if it's tasty, why should you? So it's nothing to blame the situation, but it was what happened. So especially eating more and more sugary food, and it triggers him as it triggers my whole family, like besides my mom and some people in my family, but I'm going to talk about that as well. So when he came back, I said, you're going full carnivore. You are stopping eating carbs. You're stop eating sugar until your face gets better. He stopped doing that for 3 days, 4 days, and his skin cleared up completely, like completely. And it was a real time look into his face that it cleared up. And the same thing happened to me because I went overboard with some sweets when I was in the corporate office. So I was carnivore, but I was eating sweet stuff because I was stressed out and there were some certain crazy situations. So my face also looked bad, not that bad, but it looked bad. So when we both started eating, carnivore, no carbs, every food has a little bit of carbs, but the carbs part and no sweets part, it had an immediate effect on our faces. So you see that the way of eating that way, it impacts the skin major. And it's visible. And one thing, when I did like hardcore carnivore, where I just ate beef, my skin and my body was incredible. It was glowing. I didn't have to use makeup at all. My stomach showed this, female, how do you call it? Not six pack, but these kind of definition. And I was just lean and fit, and I never had a bloating stomach, or never. But the way of eating that way is so strict, and for me it's very tough to stay on track because I was vegan because I don't like meat, and it still impacts my life. I just at certain points hate meat. I'm sorry. I know everybody's, meat is the best. For me, it's not. I hate meat. There are some phases where I crave meat and I love it, especially ground beef, so the easy ways, or where I crave eggs. But at the most of the time, I hate it. So for me, having this hype from a vegan food to going carnivore, it was easy because my body started craving animal-based foods, because I had too much of the vegan foods. So for almost 1 year, I was really totally into this kind of way of eating because I did enjoy it most of the time. But after this 1 year, now my body, especially now in the summer, started craving again salads and fruits and these kind of stuff, and nuts and stuff. So this is a little bit of the problem that we're creating. And especially these influencers, what they don't understand, they're letting people believe that everything on their faces is happening based on butter. It's not. They shared some information in some YouTube videos as well with other people in the interviews, which I saw, and they admitted to using Botox and other stuff putting in their faces. So just telling others that it's just based on the butter, because it is, in the end, it does help. I experienced it all by myself, so I know it works. But then to have YouTube interviews where you admit that you're using Botox and stuff like that, and then create videos where you tell people it's the butter, I don't agree with that in the end. So this is one thing where it started annoying me, knowing these informations, like sawing it. That was kind of a little bit of an ick feeling, So the other thing on carnivore that really impacted me is the kind of moderation if I got my hands on something sweet. Because I had a depression, like a real depression. I went to a psychiatrist. I can't say that word. I had to take antidepressants because I was like really done. Everybody who knows me by now, because of my MS, I go against medication. But at that time, I was done. I was at the bottom, which everybody who knows my videos by now know why. Last year, my health went just completely drained. It was really bad because I had a surgery, which was not due to food. It was like really bad. And after this surgery, it triggered an MS, so I lost my eyesight. At the same time, I lost myself at some point. I got constantly sick in the hospital because I had to be in the hospital. The medication was making me sick. They were giving me. And then I broke my hand as well. So it was horrible. And at the same time, because of all these things, also my private life went to hell. It was really bad. Also, my grandfather died. And, being a single mom as well. And then I was in a relationship which was at the end not giving me the energy. It was draining me of the energy that I had left. So it was just a lot to take in. And then at my job, things started changing heavily because people started quitting, which were my people, my besties, which were giving me the calmness that I needed. So everything in my whole life just turned into a very, very wrong direction. And I couldn't handle it at all. I was crying. I was constantly really, I couldn't even get up. I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything. It was a really severe depression. So that's when I decided to take the antidepressants. But at the same time, I knew I don't want to be on them because I know how they influence that they're just tune out the emotions. So at some point when you stop using it, it will just make the noises even louder. So I tried to find, a middle ground in that. It was now three months that I took it. And still sometimes when I have the need, I take it, but I really tune it out completely because I changed my profession. I still stayed in a company, but I changed my profession. I'm still in IT, but now I work in cybersecurity, and it's giving me more of the dynamic that my life needs, that my body needs. I like a little bit of a more stressful job where a lot of things are changing, which is very complex, where I have to think a lot. So it gives me a little bit of myself back, which I was like a hustler 24/7, doing my own thing, doing my own company at the time. And I stopped doing that because of the MS, and it drained me out. So it created stress by me not having stress anymore. So now I implemented stress again, and it started doing me a favor because I could get rid of my antidepressants at some point more easily. But at the same time, it was a circle moment. It affected me having also these transition moments, which is heavily. I lost all my friends because I only was friends with people at work. So I lost them because they changed jobs, and I had to go to another team, which at the beginning, I really couldn't click. So it was hard for me because they were so different, not everyone, but a lot of them. So this transition phase was horrible. And at some point, some things also happened with other people that, trusted me with some information, and then it's backfired with a lot of things. It was just going crazy. So at that time, they were having, in the new office that I was in Vienna then, where I was traveling always there. So I wasn't even at home. I was staying at a hotel for a couple of weeks and days. And then they had they always have a lot of sweets in the office, and they're always putting more and more sweets. And I'm so bad with that. So this is why I don't have them at home. I don't buy carbs. I don't buy sweet stuff. And at that moment, I was so stressed out. I was crying. I was having a mental breakdown in the middle of the office because it was just backfiring, and I stopped using the antidepressants. So my emotions got completely out of control without me knowing why. It was really bad. It was so bad. You can't even imagine how bad the situation was. And then I started just eating all the sweets without even thinking. I just took the sweet. I took the sweet. I took the sweet. And then it backfired because my stomach started getting very upset. It started getting big, and it affected my back, but that bad that I couldn't breathe. And it just didn't stop for days. And I was just crying because of that. I was crying because of my depression. It was so bad. I couldn't go home. I haven't my friends, the people that I trusted, they were not, reachable for me. It was spiraling out of control. So one thing that I learned in that hard time, I can also tell you, is when you have a back pain issue, it sometimes, or most of the times, also comes from the stomach and it affects it. I had it now ups and downs for weeks and months. So it was not just a little bit of back pain or my disc prolapse. It was, I have to go to the hospital moments because I couldn't breathe. That was that bad. So that was just a lot to figure. So the least thing that I was focusing on is food. How? I tried to get my life together somehow and get it back on track. So now for maybe 3-4 weeks roundabout, when things started to settle down a little bit, it started getting there for me to having much more control again over my body, over my eating habits, over my job, over everything, my private life. So I started going backwards, and just calming down the situation. And that's something that I realized. For me, all these kind of ways of eating is very hard. Why? Because when I'm okay, calm, easy, everything in life is okay. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's okay. It's a phase. It's a phase that I'm not constantly in. But what happens if I have another phase, which is a little bit more stressful? And then you have phase number 3, which is like your life is spiraling out of control. You have death in your family, you have situation in your jobs, you have stress with your boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, kids. You have these 3 phases in life, maybe even more, but I realized for myself it's 3 phases. So when I looked into all the diets that I was doing, like also carnivore, vegan, keto, paleo, Weight Watchers, just eating soups and stuff. So I did it all. Fasting, a lot of fasting. So all these phases require different kind of approaches to eat. So what I figured out, the diet that I want to do is my own. I created my own diet. I'm just saying it like that because none of these diets seem to fit into these normal situations in life. It's always, you eat that way or you're gonna die. You eat that way or you're a bad person. So for me, it's the 3 phases wolf diet, I'm gonna call it, just for myself. It's phase number 1. What is the perfect ideal diet you wanna do? And I talk to so many people in my corporate company. There are so many people, and we talk about food as well when we go to lunch. And they all have different approaches, what they believe it's the perfect way of eating. And they are so off sometimes, in my opinion, but I don't judge them. I don't go there and say, you think that's a good way, eating everyday sweets because moderation is key, or being completely vegan, no meat. I have it all. I never judge and say my way of eating is the right way or my approaches, because it's just not. It's not. Every person reacts differently to different kind of foods at certain kind of time as well. It maybe vegan food or carnivore works for you at that point of time, but in the other point it doesn't work for you. So it's very different. So at this point, I realized that this phase 1 is the one thing that you believe is the best for you. What is it? Is it vegan food? Then what are the, I would say, 5 important food groups or foods in general that you want to implement every day, no matter what?